Ladies and gentlemen, as mandated by state law, we will have a public hearing on the 2024-2025 budget. Our Finance Director, Amy Zakowski.
We published a notice for this public hearing in the Southtown newspaper on Friday, April 12th, 2024. We had previously presented the draft operating budget at our Board of Trustees meeting on March 26th. At that time, our general fund budgeted surplus was $408,000 and $408,906. Since then, we've kind of refined the budget a bit. We've made a few amendments that positively impacted our final budget. The first was we adjusted the parking fees revenue line to increase by $10,000. That is for the Harwood and Park Avenue metro lots. That better reflects the actual revenue that we've been generating from those lots. We also reduced the business incentive line item by $50,000 and increased our places for eating tax rebate line by $20,000, which results in a net expense reduction of $30,000. And that was just, once again, due to more information that we've gathered since the draft budget was put together. And then we also received notice that the village will receive a $64,000 police recruitment and retention grant from the state. So we increased our revenue line item to reflect the $64,000. And we also increased the Fire and Police Commission expense line item to recapture that $64,000 in expense that we will be spending throughout the fiscal year. So our updated general fund budgeted surplus increased by $40,000 for a total of $448,906. One thing to note is that we still do not have final information about the potential loss of the 1% grocery sales tax. This is something that Governor Pritzker is recommending through the state budget. So as we receive a final decision, if necessary, staff will come to the board at that time and recommend any spending adjustments. But currently, as the budget stands today, we're assuming we'll still be receiving that 1% grocery sales tax. As for the water and sewer fund, we made a small adjustment to the information technology line item. And we funded $50,000 for a potential new program called Residential Sanitary Sewer Grant. That would be some funding available to assist residents that have some issues with sanitary sewer in their homes. As for the capital budget, we presented the 5-year capital improvement plan to the board at the April 9th meeting. Since then, we've still have further refined that plan. The first year of the capital improvement plan will be our capital budget for this next fiscal year, 2024-2025. We expect to complete nearly $4.5 million of capital projects over the next 12 months. So during the following meeting, we recommend an approval of the ordinance adopting the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning May 1, 2024 and ending April 30th, 2025. Staff would then file the ordinance in Budget County, and the complete and final budget will be available on the village website. At this time, I'll take any questions from the public or from the board.
Any comments from anyone in the audience? Board comments. As Amy had said, this has been discussed at the past 2 meetings by the board, both the budget as well as the capital improvements program. Trustee Willis.
Now, everything's been explained thoroughly.
Trustee
You're amazing. Yes.
Trustee Heifman.
Yeah, nothing to add.
Trustee Harris-Jones.
Nothing to add.
Trustee Roman.
Nothing, thank you very much.
Trustee Opeth.
I have nothing to add, and thank you so much to everyone.
Okay. It should be noted that the entire board was present for the public hearing. May I have a motion to adjourn from the public hearing, please?
So moved.
Been moved by Trustee Heifman, seconded by Trustee Colton. Roll call, please.
Trustee Willis?
Aye.
Trustee Colton?
Aye.
Trustee Heiferman?
Aye.
Trustee Harris-Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Roman?
Aye.
Trustee Opeth?
Hi.
President Holfeld?
Aye. Welcome to the village board meeting of April 23rd. Please join us in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, Mrs. Thomas.
Trustee Willis.
Here.
Trustee Colton.
Here.
Trustee Hyperman.
Here.
Trustee Harris Jones. Trustee Roman. Trustee Open.
Here.
President Holfeld.
Here, representing staff this evening, to my left, our village manager Napoleon Haney, to my right, our village attorney Chris Cummings, to the audience's right, our police chief Denise McGrath, fire chief Bob Grabowski, finance director still Amy Zakowski, economic and community development director Angela Maceras, and public works director John Schaefer. The minutes of April 9th, any comments, additions, or corrections, trustee Willis?
Nothing.
Trustee Colton?
It's great.
Trustee Heiferman? Trustee Harris Jones? Trustee Roman? Trustee Opeth?
Nothing.
May I have a motion to approve the minutes, please?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by trustee Opeth, seconded by trustee Harris Jones. Roll call, please.
Trustee Willis.
Aye.
Trustee Colton.
Aye.
Trustee Hyperman.
Aye.
Trustee Harris Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Roman.
Aye.
Trustee Open.
Hi.
The minutes are approved. The claims list in the amount of $1,043,866.20. Comments or questions, trustee Willis?
None.
Trustee Colton?
None.
Trustee Heiferman?
I have none tonight.
Trustee Harris Jones?
Nothing for me.
Trustee Roman?
Nothing.
Trustee Opeth?
I do not have any questions.
May I have a motion to approve the claims list, please?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by trustee Opeth, seconded by trustee
It was me.
Colton. Roll call, please.
Trustee Willis.
Aye.
Trustee Colton.
Aye.
Trustee Hyperman.
Aye.
Trustee Harris Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Roman.
Aye.
Trustee Open.
Hi.
The claims list is approved. Of that claims list, over $1 million, 3 items comprise the majority of that list. Our payment to Burns McDonald Engineering for lead line study was $146,000. Our payment to Chicago Heights for water for 1 month was $279,000. And our payment to Thorn Creek Sanitary District was $79,000. That amounted to a little over $500,000, or 48% of that claims list. Hear from the audience. If anyone in the audience would like to address the board on any subject not on the agenda, please raise your hand. Yes, sir.
Hello, thank you for allowing public comment again. I'm Kevin Crabtree, resident of Homewood. And 2 weeks ago, I came up in front of the audience here to speak. That very day, a child was hit over near Churchill, and we talked a little bit about that. Not so much about the exact situation that caused the accident, but just heightening the concern around the community in sensitive areas where there's more pedestrian, walking traffic. And we live in Southgate, so we see a lot of close calls near Willow School, and our daughter's in Churchill. She came up today with us, as well as her mother, my wife, and just to show support that the village continue and expand upon the conversation and the importance to mitigating the problems that are out there. We know that we're no different in Homewood than anywhere else in the country when it comes to dangers and walking and driving, but we also know that we have an importance to raise concern. So I emailed each of the trustees. I think there were a few bounce backs. I didn't know if I had the email correct, but there were different ideas that John Schaefer had offered after last week's meeting that President Hofeld, you would suggest I speak to John. So we would just like to be in front of the community in saying that we would be happy to be part of the conversation that the village has to bring ideas together and hear ideas and thoughts and ways to make things safer and hopefully not have something tragic happen, be proactive instead of reactive.
Thank you, and it's under consideration by the staff. You know that. Okay?
And I would just like to say one thing real quick. Thank you so much for coming out and for standing up. I know it's not easy to be the guy saying the thing, but it's important. It really is, because it helps keep it real for us. And you and I were in touch via email, and we will continue being in touch, and we will make sure that we keep this going. So thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board this evening? Sir, come on up.
My name is Louis Duca,
And I'm from East Hampton, because I submitted it about a month ago, the paper on people that are bagging and obstructing traffic. I was wondering if they looked at the sign or anything in there.
Chief, this was on Halsted Street.
On Halsted, they're obstructing traffic.
Yes.
They're out there bagging and they're right on the edge there, and I seen one of the semis almost run somebody over.
And we can check on them as far as a check well-being, but we cannot enforce them not being on the roadway. Several years back, the Supreme Court ruled the Illinois law that governed that was unconstitutional. So all we can do is ask them if they're okay, if there's any services we can provide them, but we cannot make them move off the roadway or cite them in any way.
I mean, they're obstructing traffic, they're gonna cause an accident out there, somebody's gonna get killed.
I understand that, but the Supreme Court ruled that that law was unconstitutional, so we have no legal resource to enforce it.
And then I went to the post office about a month ago, and I was bringing my mail in late at night, because I didn't want to put it in the box. And there was some homeless people living in the home of the post office. And I asked the postmaster, I said, does anybody do anything about this? They said they called the police and no response.
Chief?
We've responded there numerous times to that complaint and have moved them from that location.
Because one time I went in there, I noticed that one was on the floor and another one was looking at the mailbox, like, checking the mailbox to see if they're open.
We're rather limited as to what we can do, as the chief had said,
Right.
by Supreme Court edicts. Okay,
That's all I have to say, thanks.
okay, welcome to Homewood.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board this evening? If not, meet your merchants. Ms. Maceras.
Good evening. Tonight's Meet Your Merchant is Asia Canabrew, who's the owner and operator of Uncle John's Barbecue, 17947 Homestead Street, at the corner of Ridge and Homestead. You might have heard that Uncle John's Barbecue was recently listed in the New York Times top 25 restaurants in Chicago. We're very congratulations here. Tell us about your business.
Hi, my name is Asia Kennedy. As you said, I'm the owner of Uncle John's Barbecue. Took over from my father when he retired in 2019. We've been in Homewood since about 2016. However, we've been around for more than 20 years, originating on 69th and Calumet in Chicago with my Uncle Max sitting here. I apologize if I came straight from work, so the smell of smoke might be but since we've been there, we've definitely had a good turnout thanks to the New York Times article. And then last April, Steve Gilinski did a story on us as well for the food guy. So we've really been doing well from there, and we appreciate all the neighbors in Homewood coming out and patronage to our business, and we plan to stick around.
What's your best seller?
The best seller, of course, is our tips and links. We make our links, so our links are proprietary. We're known for them. Yeah, so we have that, and then we've also diversified the menu a bit. My father is diehard Smoke Alabama, pork is president. So we've diversified a bit, and we've added turkey and beef ribs for those who can't eat pork or are looking for different options.
And your hours of operation?
Are from 11 to 10 p.m. every day, Monday through Saturday. We're only closed on Sunday.
Okay. Again, we're very happy to have you as part of the business community. We wish you nothing but success.
Thank you.
Yes,
Okay,
congratulations.
and your dad still gives you advice, right?
Of course.
I thought so. I thought so.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Presentations. May I have a motion to approve Resolution 3179 honoring the retirement of Doug Hank from Public Works?
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved by trustee Opitz, seconded by trustee Roman. Roll call, please.
Trustee Willis.
Aye.
Trustee Colton.
Aye.
Trustee Hyperman.
Aye.
Trustee Harris Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Roman.
Aye.
Trustee Oben.
Aye.
Resolution is approved. Would you please read the resolution?
A resolution honoring Douglas Hank Jr. for 18 years of service in the Public Works Department and 8 years of service to the Fire Department. Whereas Douglas Hanks Jr. was hired as a full-time employee in August 2006 as a landscape maintenance worker in the Department of Public Works. And whereas Doug Hank became a certified arborist in April 2011. And whereas Doug Hank transferred to the Utility Division as a maintenance worker in 2015. And whereas Doug Hank transferred to the Street Division as a maintenance worker in 2020. And whereas Doug Hank Jr. has consistently upgraded his public works training and education, including classes. And whereas Doug Hank is a proficient operator of heavy equipment. And whereas Doug Hank is given special recognition for the many years spent serving residents by maintaining Homewood's urban forest and keeping streets clear of snow in his capacity as snowplow operator. And whereas Doug Hank has provided many services to the village residents while serving the village in a variety of capacities. And whereas Doug Hank was hired as a paid-on-call firefighter for the Homewood Fire Department from 1997 to 2005. And whereas Doug Hank currently holds the position of Street Division Maintenance Worker and is recognized through his commitment to quality as a public works professional. And whereas President and Village Board of Trustees thanks Douglas Hanks Jr. for his dedicated service and commitment to the Village of Homewood and wishes many years of happiness in his years of retirement. Now therefore be it resolved by the President and Board of Trustees, the Village of Homewood, Douglas Hank Jr. be honored and commended for his dedication and commitment to the Village of Homewood, for providing 18 years of service in the Homewood Department of Public Works and 8 years of service to the Homewood Fire Department.
Mr. Schaefer.
Doug, if you could step up for a minute here. Just some added history between me and Doug and Public Works. I worked with Doug, first started working with Doug at the fire department when we were both part-time firemen for Homewood here. And then from that, I was at the time with Public Works, and there was a job position opening for a full-time Public Works person, and Doug came in and took the tests and interviewed, and we hired Doug at Public Works. He became a full-time Public Works in 2006 until the present year. Doug is an employee that everyone got along with. Always had a positive attitude, hard work ethic, and a sense of humor. Doug worked for a landscape maintenance division for most of his career, including becoming a certified arborist and also getting his pesticide license. Doug also was a CDL trainer, commercial driver's license trainer, and instructor through the state of Illinois. Doug raised his family here in Homewood, including his 3 daughters, who I'm sure are also very proud of him. I'm sure you're going to be looking forward to doing some traveling across the country, visiting your daughter and grandchild, and with your wife Janine, and also traveling on a motorcycle. Doug, you've been a major asset to Homewood in so many capacities. You will be deeply missed by Public Works. We wish you and Jean the very best in your retirement and your new adventures.
Congratulations. Doug, your wife told me that in retirement, lunch isn't part of the deal. You're on your own. At this time, I would like to issue a proclamation declaring April 26th as Arbor Day. If you would please read the proclamation.
Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of agriculture, that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our village increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, whereupon they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. And whereas in April 2024, the Village of Homewood will be recognized by the National Arbor Day Foundation as a Tree City USA for the 26th year. Now therefore, Richard Hofeld, Village President, does hereby proclaim April 26, 2024 as Arbor Day in the Village of Homewood, and urges all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands, and further urges all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations.
Thank you. In addition to that, I received a letter today from the Arbor Day Foundation saying that we also received a Growth Award stating your community has demonstrated an outstanding commitment to sustainable urban forest management. Congratulations to Public Works. Thank you. And at this time, I would also like to issue a proclamation honoring the inaugural participants of the Homewood Citizen Civics Academy. I think it was an interesting experience for you all. Mrs. Thomas?
Whereas the Village of Homewood desires to recognize several outstanding residents and business owners who participated in the inaugural Citizen Civics Academy, and whereas the dedicated community members spent 6 weeks learning, observing, and participating in valuable department overviews and open discussions with village staff. And whereas the Citizen Civics Academy students were able to tour village facilities, try on first responder gear, and spend time observing day-to-day operations of our fire, police, and public works departments. Additionally, participants spent time learning about village finances, economic and community development, building division, and manager's office. And whereas the Village of Homewood takes great pride in the Citizen Civics Academy and has succeeded to engage residents and business owners on a personal level to grow and foster trust and transparency within our community. The Citizen Civics Academy is a program the village will continue to foster, nurture, and develop so all Homewood residents may participate in the future. Now therefore, Richard Hofeld, President of the Village of Homewood, on behalf of the Village Board of Trustees and its residents, do hereby honor and congratulate the participants of the inaugural Homewood Citizen Civics Academy.
Thank you, Mr. Haney.
Thank you, Mayor. When I call your name, please come up and stand with me. Please hold your applause to the end. Chiquita Almo. Mary Barr. Dr. Christine Condon. Eric Crumpke's here. Erwin Friedman. Maggie Goslin. Toya Mitchell. Cosme Rios II. Gail Shines. Riley Smith. Joseph Brett. James Burke. Jennifer Cutshaw. Linda Davenport. Mike Dickover. Nikina Flores. Sarah Hunt. Jacqueline Kirkland. Proud to stand. Monica McCoon. Mark McMahon. Mark. Gregory Moore. Jamie Paisley.
I'm accepting on her behalf. Be so kind.
This is your first class. Our goal is to, yes.
Joe Sherman?
Doug Sherman?
Oh, Joe Sherman. Joe, I'm sorry. You get the Dairy Queen, don't worry. So this is our first class. Our goal is to bring 19,260 more through over the next 25 years. But this is our inaugural class. Can we give them a
There you go. Thank you guys so much, really.
Stand up so that we're actually getting
Yes. And you know what, I'm letting you-
No, Go ahead, stand, Lauren. Lauren, stand.
I know I said I need somebody short to go in front of me.
Quickly.
Ready? Perfect.
Thank you. And Mayor, lastly, I'd like to thank our staff. Our participants were able to actually meet directly with our department heads directly for information. So I want to thank the department heads for taking your time out every Wednesday between 6 and 8 voluntarily. So I want to thank our department heads. And lastly, I would like to thank Antonia Steinmiller for putting this all together. It was her work, her tirelessness. She shopped for food. She put together a curriculum. She did it all. So Antonia wasn't able to make it tonight, but we want to say thank you to Antonia.
Now the 2023 annual report for the Homewood Science Center, Edie Dobritz, the director.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. First, I want to take a moment to thank the trustees, village trustees, the village clerk, and the village president very much for your ongoing support, as well as all of the village staff who have supported the Homewood Science Center. Very much appreciated. Really looking at public works right now. It takes a village. You get a lot of crazy phone calls from me. It takes a village, and it definitely took this village to make Homewood Science Center a success. Our success is also due to our dedicated board of directors, thank you, Jay, and our staff, including Dominique Barksdale, Janet Henry, Charlie Moore, and Jordan Liznicki. Jordan created the report that I've handed, the paper report that I've handed to the village trustees. I will leave some extra copies I have here for the audience members, but anyone from the public can access this report on our website, which Jordan will post for us. Thank you, Jordan. It is fitting that STEM Saturdays is on the cover of this report because it is a program that perfectly fulfills our mission of inspiring scientific wonder, learning, and pursuit. Unlike other communities that offer play spaces costing anywhere between $40 and $100 to visit, our program is free, allowing any family to make STEM part of their family life starting at the youngest ages. And I saw Mike Dicko, yeah, Mike's here, just a little plug. His daughter Eleanor, who's been involved with the Homewood Science Center for many years, has been part of our conservation ecology program. will be doing the Ad STEM Saturdays this Saturday, talking about cicadas, because she is an emerging entomologist. She's very interested, and she's gonna share what she's learned, create a craft, really make it fun for the kids, so come and see Eleanor. Eleanor's great. During the week, we are busy hosting school and community groups for field trips. Today, we hosted a group from Manteno, and on Thursday, there will be a group from Madison. We are serving many ages and abilities, including young adults with special needs. We recently received funding from Exelon to develop a new offering for middle school students that is inspired by our popular conservation ecology program. And by the way, I'm gonna keep putting plugs in. Our conservation ecology program we offered in the spring and the fall, also a free program for middle school students. The application is due this Friday, so if you know anyone, look at our website. We'd love to have them in our program. Thanks to Cook County's CDBG grant, we offer a yearly Girls STEAM celebration to showcase career and education opportunities for teenage girls. Robotics teams just wrapped up their season, and we are currently accepting registrations for our summer camps. Dungeons and Dragons, who knew, is also gaining popularity, and we absolutely love it, and so do the kids. They're putting down their devices, and they're working out challenges using their imaginations, math, and more. It's wonderful. This Thursday night, we will be convening our Chicago Southland STEM Network and watching the documentary Generation Grow. So you can also join us Thursday evening for that. We offer the Chicago Southland Network convenings twice a year to support educators and STEM enthusiasts, parents, community members. And of course, we keep very busy fundraising. And we hope that you will join us at our Summerfest fundraiser on July 18th and at Walk Walton on October 20th. And then there's grants. We're always writing grants, we're always looking for new funding opportunities. And in fact, next week, I will be traveling to a convening of the STEM Opportunity Alliance in DC. Well, they touted that we were going to the White House, but I saw the address, 1300 Pennsylvania is not the White House. Last time I checked, it was 1600, but there's always hope that I'll get in there. But it's a White House event, whatever. So I'm seeking funding prospects at that convening as well. But that is not everything. 18022 Dixie Highway is the host site for LGBTQ youth and parent groups, yoga training, Spotlight Performance Academy, film screenings, and more. A true community hub that Homewood started. I want to leave you with a statement of impact from one of your former trustees, Judge Barbara Dawkins. Homewood Science Center has been a destination for my family since its inception. My son has participated in drop-in programming, camps, and school field trips. Most recently, he participated in the Illinois Student Invention Convention through the center, where he conceptualized, designed, and built his own invention. He's 11. The Science Center also provides programming for adults. For example, during the pandemic, the Science Center provided programming to help parents who were already put in the position of being teachers to their children who are learning from home. We have also participated in numerous family-oriented science programs dealing with a wide range of topics like astronomy and ornithology. The Science Center provides a place for learning and exploration, which is unparalleled in Chicagoland. So thank you, Barbara. We appreciate that, and I very much appreciate all of your support. Thank you very much. Any questions?
All I can say is the conception of the Science Center was a former employee, Rachel Jones. Initially, when the property became available, we thought it would be a children's museum. She elevated it to this, but we're very fortunate to have you as the director. You've even brought it on to greater heights.
Thank you.
And I want to congratulate and compliment the board for the continual support of the Science Center. So thank you for all that you do.
Thank you.
Any comments from the board?
Just thank you.
We
for
all in
supporting
agreement.
us.
Yep.
I will make a comment. I'll
Go
say,
ahead.
though you say that what Rachel had done, I'll say, the Science Center today is really nothing what we originally thought it was going to be. It is a 180. And it's incredibly, I'm so honored to be part of what you read in this report. It's amazing that we have come as far as we have. Thank you, Edie.
Thank you for everything you've done.
Yes, I would also like to echo what Trustee Heiferman had said. You really took it to the next level. And I have been fortunate to see my niece participate in some of your wonderful programs, and then also having meetings with you while there have been activities or where schools come in, and how wonderful that is for each of the schools to have something so wonderful, easy, accessible. They don't have to go into Chicago for it. So thank you for what you do in this community hub. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Again, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone.
Ms. Maceras.
Again, tonight's agenda is the Village of Homewood Transit-Oriented Development Plan. The plan is the result of a 12-month public process. It was funded through a grant from the Regional Transportation Authority, the RTA. And at the start of the process, village staff solicited volunteers from the community who served on a steering committee. The committee provided feedback and guidance throughout the planning process. And additional volunteers from the community participated in focus groups, took time to share their input at festivals, online, pop-up events, and I just want to acknowledge that this was definitely a community project, and we appreciate all the time and effort that went into this. The Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing and unanimously recommended approval of this plan, which requires adoption by the village board, and will serve as an amendment to the village's 1999 comprehensive plan. Our planning consultants, Kelsey and Fiona of Muse Community Design, are here in attendance this evening to present our plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Good evening, I'm Fiona Kennedy with Muse Community Design, joined by my colleague Kelsey.
Hi, I'm Kelsey. I'm a senior associate in Muse as well.
Before we begin, we'd like to thank the board for your time and attention dedicated to the plan tonight. Some of you were already engaged with community engagement events we held throughout the planning process. And to anyone in the audience that participated in the steering committee and focus groups, there was immense time from the community dedicated to this planning process, and that is reflected in the recommendations and in the plan you'll be presented with tonight. So tonight we will give a brief overview of the planning process before we jump into the plan itself and its recommendations. So the creation of this plan has been a group effort every step of the way. Starting first with the project team, we have the Village of Homewood, the Regional Transportation Authority, Muse Community Design, and our sub-consultants, Civil Tech and Living Design. This plan is a partnership between the Village of Homewood and RTA. RTA attended every meeting we had with the village, they attended engagement events we hosted, and they facilitated conversations between the project team and the service boards, PACE and Metro. We had two sub-consultants working on this plan, Civil Tech and Latent Design. Civil Tech did the transportation focus recommendations you see in the plan, and Latent Design did the sample developments you see in the invest sections of the plan. Externally, the community engagement conducted throughout the process directly informed the recommendations that are held in this plan. The project team held 4 engagement events. We were at Gott's Chalk the Walk, Fall Fest, we had a pop-up at Good Speed Cycles, we had a pop-up at Homewood Business Association's monthly meeting, and we held 2 focus groups and 5 steering committee meetings with 11 steering committee members. Looking at the timeline a bit more in depth, we broke up the past 12 months into 4 sections, which all start with the creation of the TOD plan being recommended in the village's 2020 strategic plan. The Village of Homewood applied for and received a grant from RTA to co-create a TOD plan and hired a group of consultants. Listening to locals is when the planning process really began. We formed the steering committee, which was 11 business owners and residents of Homewood, and they really guided the process of how we were going to conduct community engagement and the planning process for the next several months. Community engagement began, and throughout the fall, we got more specific into our recommendations. Our draft recommendations were developed. Community engagement continued through this time as we got more specific, asking specific questions and gathering feedback on what could this plan look like. Then finally, plan completion and implementation is where we are right now. So in this stage, we also met with the service boards, PACE and Metra, and incorporated their comments into the plan. We had one final steering committee meeting and incorporated their comments into the plan. We received comments from village staff, from police and fire, from public works, and open public comment, as well as the Planning and Zoning Commission 2 weeks ago, and have incorporated their comments into the final plan you see tonight. So with that, I'll pass it over to Kelsey to get into the plan structure. Thank you.
Hi, as Fiona mentioned, my name is Kelsey. I've been the project manager for this project, and we have really enjoyed working with all of you, working with Homewood. This has been a wonderful community to do this transit-oriented development plan. And as Fiona mentioned, we had created this structure that really guides the rest of the plan and the recommendations. And so it really focuses on this graphic where we start with arrive, then we go down to navigate, then we go down to enjoy, and then we go down to invest. And so the idea is kind of we're going from bigger picture, how you come into Homewood, all the way down to kind of this block and more site-specific recommendations. And so to get a little bit into arrive and what you'll find in that section, the structure of this PowerPoint and the structure of the plan itself as well is really leading with what we heard from the community and developing recommendations based off of what we heard. So these are just some examples of how we got to the arrive components and what we heard from that. And so we had heard from many people that it wasn't easy to arrive downtown on foot or by bike. And so a lot of the recommendations are really focused on that perspective. And so from here, we had 3 recommendations under the arrive section. We had enhanced access to downtown via the viaducts, and specifically we're focusing on Dixie Highway and 183rd. And on page 20 of the document, we have a rendering of an example of what that could look like, for example, with Dixie, to really improve the experience based on, again, thinking about pedestrians, thinking about cyclists. For recommendation 2, we focus on implementing uniform signage at PACE bus stops. And recommendation 3, upgrading pedestrian and cyclist experience entering downtown through wayfinding and other kind of street level strategies. Then when we got into navigate, we had heard from multiple people that the big idea was how do we reduce stress points for pedestrians and cyclists? Thinking about once people have already arrived here, how are they able to get around easily and safely? And again, some of these are direct quotes from what we heard from people that were really helping us shape all of that. And so within navigate, our recommendations are to bolster the pedestrian network, extend the bike network, encourage decorative crosswalks, and finally to update the downtown wayfinding system. The third category is enjoy. And of course, this is focused on what people already enjoy and love about Homewood. And not coincidentally, this also has the most recommendations because there's so much to enjoy in Homewood. And so we had focused on building the capacity of the Homewood Business Association, cultivating the growth of small businesses through a pop-up business area, fostering inviting open spaces, improving streetscaping, promoting and expanding public art, refining storefront design guidelines, and increasing the efficiency of existing parking. And so again, all the recommendations here are really more on a block level of recommendations and thinking about aesthetics, furnishings, everything that kind of makes that on-the-ground experience what everyone here loves so much about living here. And then finally, invest is a little bit more even forward thinking and kind of this big picture future of visioning and kind of opportunity areas within Homewood. And so within here, we have these recommendations to repurpose the Village Hall lot, reimagine Savoyas, create a corner market, reimagine the 183rd site through adaptive reuse, pursuing opportunities at 1750 Ridge Road, and finally celebrating the historic preservation and history within downtown Homewood. And from all of those recommendations, really our purpose of being here tonight, as Angela mentioned, we were already at the zoning, meeting, which went really well, and we're ultimately here to seek approval and adoption of this full document. We feel very strongly, again, based off of what Fiona mentioned, that this really was a grassroots effort. The community has been involved every step of the way, which is also what's made it such a great project and so enjoyable for us on our end. And so we kind of, to wrap that up too, we want to mention that ultimately the adoption of this document isn't necessarily wholesale approval of every single recommendation in this highly specific way. Everything you're seeing here is really a menu and kind of a suite of options that are going to go through their own approval processes, design processes, that type of thing. So this is really just kind of the guidebook moving forward for Homewood, and that's really the purpose of the adoption. So with all of that, we will eventually hopefully end up at the Homewood Farmers Market for the final planned celebration, assuming all goes well here tonight. And we're happy to take any questions that you might have. Other than that, we really appreciate working with all of you, and this has been really wonderful for us, so thank you.
Thank you for your guidance in developing this, and I like your way of saying this is a plan, this is a menu. I've gone over this, and there's some out of the world type ideas here, but nevertheless, the basics are there. I particularly like the storefronts and the uniformity, and we can do a little bit more in conjunction with our appearance plan. A lot of creativity went into this. Is it doable? Some of it is way beyond what we're able to do. But thank you very much for what you've done. Comments or questions from anyone in the audience with regard to this plan? It's tough to digest when you're seeing it for the first time, I realize. Yes, sir.
I do have a question. It was stated that there is some grassroots efforts and polling done to the general public. About how many unique individuals would you say have contributed one way or another to this project?
Great question. We had 11 steering committee members. We had about 60 participants at the Good Speed Cycles event. That was like a pop-up opportunity for people to give feedback on the pedestrian and bike infrastructure. At the Homewood Business Association, there were probably 15 to 20 people in attendance. And then throughout the focus groups, we had about 50 people in the 2 different focus groups.
You also like Fall Fest, I know a lot of folks.
Oh, thank you, yes, and
that was
then
nice.
Gas Truck to Walk in Fall Fest,
Yeah.
so that was a lot of folks that were passing through. It's kind of like an intercept engagement activity we did there to catch people that may not be plugged into the planning process otherwise.
If you would put a number to that, would you say an average of how many people might have?
Probably
Several hundred.
Yeah, Fall Fest was much more so than God's Truck. God's Truck was probably 100, Fall Fest was probably 100.
Thank you.
Board comments, Trustee Willis.
I want it all. I'll be excited to see some of it come to me. Thank you.
Trustee Cole?
Yeah, a couple of things. First of all, you guys, I am amazed that you can come into a community and just like get us the way you did. Thank you. You really, like, I look at this and I see a really, really beautiful future for us. I also want to thank Angela and the whole staff team for making this possible, and also for engaging the community. Like, I haven't really seen this before, like this effort of bringing people in and saying, you know what, this isn't just the staff's town or the board's town or the consultant's town, whatever, this is the community. And the idea that we have several hundred, if next time we do it, let's get several thousand, you know? I mean, I think the more voices we have, but thank you for making that happen. And thank you guys for listening to us, I appreciate that.
I've enjoyed watching the process, being part of the process. I was impressed with the process, and I'm, I'll say, even more impressed by what was delivered. It was really a nice tool for us for the future.
Trustee Harris-Jones.
Thank you for your forward thinking for our community. This is fantastic. I just, like Trustee Willis said, I look forward to seeing hopefully all of it.
Trustee Roman.
Yes, thank you so much. I was at the Homewood Business Association meeting, and I loved that we got all of the businesses involved, on top of all the community involvement as well, but getting their input and all the ideas to get all of the areas where we have small businesses in our town, not just the downtown area, involved in this also. I will say probably all of Mayor Hofeld's off-the-wall ideas that he thinks are probably my favorite. So hopefully we can see a lot of this happen, and I'm really excited. Thank you for all of your hard work.
Trustee Open.
Thank you so much for both your team as well as staff participating in this. I was at the Goodspeed event, and then as well, I sat in at the planning and zoning meeting. A lot of great discussions about this wonderful, map for us to take the village to the next level. I love the idea of pop-ups, or having a space for art. I love that idea as well. Engaging people in the downtown, that's close to my heart. I'm very interested in hearing what we are going to do as the village to safety, wayfinding signs, utilizing parking space. What I continue to hear from planning and zoning was nothing more than a 5-minute walk for someone to get to their destination. So I am very eager to move forward and see where we go next. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Mrs. Thomas, the consent agenda.
The board is asked to approve the reappointment of Tisha Jones to the Veterans Committee for a 3-year term ending April 23, 2027. Board is asked to approve ordinance M 2287, amending the lease agreement between the village and the Homewood Science Center for the property at 2018-2020 Ridge Road. The space was to serve as an annex to the Science Center, but the Science Center no longer needs the additional space. The village has done extensive renovation on the building, including a new roof, tuck pointing, and demolition of the interior. By removing the Science Center from the lease, the village can make this property in downtown Homewood available for a commercial or retail space. The board is asked to pass ordinance M 2288, approving the Upham plat of subdivision for the property at 3043, 3055, 183rd Street. This piece of property was at one time occupied by Brunswick Bowl and Big Lots. The developer, DP Homewood LLC, is asking to subdivide the one parcel into 4 parcels. This subdivision proposal was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission. The board is asked to waive competitive bidding due to the high demand and limited availability of forestry equipment and authorize the purchase of a customized 11-yard chipped box from Arbortech of Wooster, Ohio, in the amount of $32,060. The board is asked to approve the renewal contract with Echo Clean Maintenance of Elmhurst for custodial services in an amount not to exceed $51,480. This is an extension to a current contract. The board is asked to award the bid for tree removal and stump removal to Homer Tree of Lockport in an amount not to exceed $100,000 and award the bid for sectional tree trimming, spot tree trimming, and emergency removal to Winkler's Tree Service of LaGrange Park, the lowest responsible bidder, in an amount not to exceed $88,000. The board is asked to award the bid for crushed limestone to Shepley Motor Express of Thornton, the lowest responsible bidder, in an amount not to exceed $49,500. The board is asked to award the bid for concrete flatwork to Strata Construction Company of Addison, the lowest responsible bidder, in an amount not to exceed $143,510. The board is asked to award a bid for bituminous mixes to D Construction of Coal City, the lowest responsible bidder, for surface mix, binder mix, and coal patch mix in an amount not to exceed $54,000. The board is asked to approve the renewal of the scavenger licenses for Homewood Disposal, Allied Waste Transportation, Inc., and Waste Management, Inc., and the limited scavenger licenses to Midway Building Supply, Tri-State Disposal, and Total Disposal. The board is asked to pass ordinance MC 1080, amending the language for Class 16 liquor license to include the State of Illinois brewer's license. The board is asked to pass ordinance M 2289, amending the table of the number of liquor license limitations by class to increase the allowed number of Class 16 liquor licenses by one for the proposed Homewood Brewing Operations LLC at 18255 Dixie Highway. The board is asked to pass ordinance M 2290, waiving the requirements governing outdoor alcohol sales for certain licenses, and approve the issuance of permits to Grady's, Cilantro Mexican Restaurant, the Fifth Quarter, the Ridgewood, Lassen's, Buffalo Wild Wings, Rabbit Brewing, Maple Tree Inn, Stony Point Grill, Homewood Brewing Operations for sale of alcoholic beverages outdoor, valid May 1, 2024 to April 30, 2025, upon payment of the permit fee. The board is asked to pass ordinance M 2291, adopting the Homewood Transit-Oriented Development Plan and amendment to the comprehensive plan that was just outlined. The board is asked to pass resolution R 3180, establishing a 5-year capital improvement plan process. The board is asked to pass ordinance M 2292, adopting the village's annual budget for the fiscal year May 1, 2024 through April 30, 2025.
Thank you, and you still have your voice.
Sort of.
Any comments or questions from anyone in the audience with regard to these items? If not, board comments, trustee Willetts?
No.
Trustee Colton?
I got a couple. One is on, for item M, the, outdoor liquor license. Did we get everything settled with the Ridgewood? There was a question about that.
Yes, yeah, I did speak with the owner of the Ridgewood, and he is going to extend the area only on his, in the back of his bar.
Into his part of it, so it will be, so the area, so the entrance to the Redbird will be clear.
Yes.
Perfect. Is Kim aware?
I do not know.
Okay, let's just let her know just to make sure that she knows. So, cool, okay, thank you for that. And then there's a couple of points of clarity that I just want to get for the item B, the lease amendment for the Homewood Science Center. And I've got a couple of questions here about that. First question is, because my understanding is that the original plan, Mrs. Barnum, the original owner, was gonna donate that to the Salvation Army. And then we said, no, we're gonna do it, and was the deal that we would keep it, initially, that we would keep it in the nonprofit space?
Initially, we had said that the Science Center could use the space for an expansion.
Okay. Have we discussed this with her, that we're changing the plan?
I did, I spoke with her today.
Okay, what did she say?
She is aware. She just said thanks for letting her know.
Okay, so she is aware and she
Yes.
is approved, I guess if she had a problem, she
Yes.
could come tonight. Okay, good, I just wanna make sure that we're doing everything above board. Next question I have is, and as long as you're here, Edie, you can, guess what, I'm putting you on the spot. You were brought in, at what point of this process were you brought in?
Right in the beginning when, the owner was looking to donate.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you were brought in at the beginning, so you've been at the table since the beginning?
Well, yes, yeah.
Okay.
I knew about it from the beginning because I was brought, and it wasn't even decided that it was gonna be donated to me, to us, to the Homewood Science Center until after the donor meeting. Yeah, the building owner.
Okay, and you were on board with the plan?
Yeah.
That was good, okay, good, I just want to double check. But then, and what I'm trying to figure out is, you were in and cleaning up and everything, and I remember, because I came in one day, because Amy Eagle told me that she was gonna give me coffee, and she did, and she made me help. And so, I came in and I was, you guys were in there for a while, did we know? Because then we found out later, right, like a month or two later, that it was like uninhabitable and everybody had to move out. Did we know that ahead of time? Like, why didn't we check on that ahead of time? Because that seems like something like, I mean, I've bought 2 houses, and every time I've bought a house, I've done a you know, an inspection, and I'm a moron. Like, I would think that people who do this, why didn't we do that? And I guess that's a question, I don't know if that's a question for Chief Grabowski or Mr. Schaefer.
Probably all of us.
We were given the property ostensibly for use for children. We had thought it would be a science center annex.
Right.
It was an ideal property located on Ridge Road. We knew there were going to be improvements to it. The extent of them, I don't think we knew what they were at the time, John, as far as the roof and the tuck pointing.
Yeah, and when the building was first obtained, he was involved, we looked at to see if it could be made into some type of financial impact for the science center, create something that way. Looking at the building, it needed a new roof. We had some leaks in it. To make it more feasible for doing that type of sales, it just wasn't there. We had some ADA issues that we would have to look at. There had to be some reconfiguration of the building, so that's kind of where we've started at here. We've done, replaced the roof, we've done some tuck pointing with the entire building, getting it up, sealed up tight, some new gutters. There's still a lot more work that needs to be done in that building. There needs to be HVAC needs to be done. Electrical upgrade, electric is not good. So we want to do that. There's a lot of storage up above. The ceiling is not in good shape, so some of that's been taken care of as far as the demo part. But, you know, there still needs to be, I don't have the numbers right in front because I wasn't ready for this question.
Sure, yeah, oh, no, I understand.
But you're probably gonna look at spending another, just off the top of my head, $100,000.
Sure. But that would be something that it would be passing on to whoever would take over the.
Yeah, you know, if somebody that's interested now, for business or whatever, then, you know, at this point, we won't do anything further. I mean, it would just be passed on to them. It would be their shell to take it from where we have it now and do whatever they need to do.
So the money we've spent so far, that's all we're spending. That's as much as we're getting. There's nothing else we.
At this point, yes.
Correct, okay, good. Because I guess what my question is like, it alarms me that we had so many people in the annex building when it wasn't safe. That, I mean, do we have a process in place when we acquire a property? And I don't know if that's for you, I don't know if that's a question for maybe.
I don't think it's unsafe. I think the property was not watertight. John, through the tuck pointing and the new roof, has made it watertight.
Sure.
But as far as unsafe, Bob, would you want to comment on
I
that?
think what happened was, you correct me if I'm wrong, it started out as like a pop-up shop, if I remember. And then we were fine with that because I didn't go in there. And then it kind of, it went over to like almost a full-time thing, and that's where I became uncomfortable with it.
Okay.
And then John and I got together and had discussions. It was never to the point where it was unsafe to the public technically, but it wasn't up to code.
It wasn't up to code.
So I said, we gotta do one thing or the other. We either gotta get it up to code, or we gotta get them out of here and everything. So that probably came down to me.
Okay.
That's when they decided to gut it, which is what John said it had to be done, and it did. It had to be gutted and brought down where it is. So it was never unsafe, it just wasn't up to code, and I wasn't comfortable letting them operate at a full-time capacity until we got it up to code.
Okay, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you being on top of that. I guess all I'm saying is that I feel like, you know, if we're going to acquire property, we should do an inspection before we even take possession of it, just so we know what we're getting ourselves into. Because I think that was part of the problem we ran into, is that we realized that it was untenable based on the meeting. I know Trustee Opeth had a meeting that you can probably speak to it more when it's your turn. But the meeting was like, this is untenable for a nonprofit, which I think is the right choice, and that's why I am gonna vote yes on this, because I think this is the right way to move forward. But that would have been great information to have at the very beginning of the process before the Science Center deployed 7 million hours of volunteer hours and all that bandwidth to try to make a space work that was probably never going to be able to work. So, I think we need to improve our processes. Instead of making the decision and then figuring out how to make it work, I would love to see, for me, I don't know, I'd like to hear what everybody else thinks on this, but like every board I've been on, when I was in corporate America, we always had like a policy, a process of, there'd be like the staff would have a team that would sit down and assess the property and be like, okay, here's what we've got in terms of having public works there and having code enforcement there, finance there, economic development. So you can provide us with hard data and before we make the decision, and then we can make the decision based on facts and data instead of just trying to swim around afterwards and make it work. I don't know what the process for that is, but I'd love to have that discussion as a board, and I'd love to see what the staff can do to create that policy.
Trustee Heiferman.
Before I comment and the items, I'll respond to that.
Sure, please.
And say, the properties that the village acquires, we acquire those properties because there are issues or because they're not necessarily going to be clean. And the reason I believe that we take them on is to create something better for the community. Sometimes that includes the baggage that goes with the property, and I think that's really what we're here for. One of the things I'm always proud to say is that there really isn't a property in Homewood that isn't being looked at as to what's going on with it. Is there a possibility for it? I've never, as I drive around and see other communities, I see wasteland often. In Homewood, there is none, because we pay attention to really every detail, and I think this is all part of it. On the budget part of the consent agenda, there's an amazing amount of work that goes into it. Nothing else to say on that. The TOD plan, and again, amazing amount of work. But I have to say, and again, not diminishing those, the public works aspect of this, the amount of bids that go out, what goes into creating the bid, the process, the legal process, for all of the bidders, how heavy it is for everybody. This is an incredibly heavy consent agenda in work and attention by Public Works, so I recognize that, and thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Trustee Harris-Jones.
No comments from me.
Trustee Roma.
I would also like to circle back to the annex building. This came up on the agenda at our last meeting, and then it was tabled. And since then, I've personally been reached out to by 2 separate people asking what the plan is for that storefront. I think that, at least for as long as I've been on the board, we've always had either, in every building that we've acquired or space that we've acquired, it's been either on the market for a long time and there's been a purpose for it, or there is already a need for it, like the library. We already have it earmarked for something. I would really like to see a process for this space where it goes out to the public and we, not necessarily listed for sale, but marketed to see what our community members, like I said, in 2 weeks, 2 people have reached out to me, and that's just from what they saw on Facebook with the agenda and everything. I would really like to see a more, like we send everything out to bid, so, and I always have these ideas and then I look at our attorney and say, I don't know the exact process that would look like, but that's kind of the vision that I have for it, like a bid process where people can present their ideas of what they want this storefront to be, and what, obviously business plans, everything, it needs to be vetted by the economic development team, and then viable options presented to us to see, this is a prime location, and I think that there could be some demand for it, and to see what we could bring to our downtown area.
Mr. Cummings, the procedure?
It's in a TIF district, so the procedure is different when you're selling property within the TIF district. I mean, if there was it's a board decision as far as marketing the property and how you want to do it. I'm handling the legal end of it. The legal end of it would be that you would negotiate a redevelopment agreement. And part of that redevelopment agreement, like we're doing with the Brunswick zone, is to, the purchase and sale agreement for the property would be part of that. As part of an overall, it's not just about selling the property, it's what comes along with it and what kind of development's going in there. So redevelopment agreement and purchase and sale agreement, they work hand in hand.
Okay.
So that, from a legal aspect, that's the process.
Right.
If it's not in the TIF district, then the requirements are different, and it's always in the board's or the village's discretion if the, in terms of how you market the property. That's really not really part of the legal aspect of it.
Right. Like, to Trustee Hyperman's point, I think that there's always an idea, there's always thought going into every space, but in other communities, like you mentioned, I see signs that say, opportunity available, village-owned property, contact us for information. So I envision something like that where, and I don't know, maybe we put it out there for 30 days, something like that. We put a time frame on it and then see what happens.
Point noted.
I love that idea.
Trustee?
I need to circle back to item number M. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice again. I noticed that Levoot was not on the list for outdoor dining. Is that, that they just haven't?
The Duke has a liquor license that includes the outdoor space,
Oh,
so
okay.
they don't need to apply here.
Okay,
It's
that's
a
good.
one-off because of the hotel.
Okay, just want to make sure, don't want to lose that. And also, I'd just like to echo what Trustee Hyperman had said as far as the bid process. Very heavy, and what Public Works goes through, that's quite a lot. I know when I was on the other side of the dais, some of the bidding that I would have to do, very small, but Lisa Srin was just amazingly helpful with that, so I'm sure she had her fingers in that as well. Trustee Colton, you had asked as far as the meeting that President Hofeld and I had with Edie, the Homewood Arts Council, Homewood Science Center. It was very informative. It was the first time that people had been into the space, the annex space on Ridge Road. And I think everyone was pretty taken back. Excuse me, Josh was in the meeting as well. Because we remember it when Homewood Science Center was in there. And what they were able to create with that space was quite incredible. But now I feel as though it's at this next level that is absolutely breathtaking with the barreled ceiling, the exposed brick. It is magnificent, but the bottom line, it came down to the dollars, and that who has that money to take it and invest in that space, especially non-for-profits that are still challenging from the pandemic. So I appreciate everyone's time and meeting, and that we tabled it, because it was very helpful hearing from everyone. I still know in my heart what I would like to see it as, but I also agree with what Trustee Roman has said, that I would like to see some sort of process, that if we own a space, we've invested money in this space, that it comes before the board and that we get to take a look at it. I could see, great opportunities in that space. But I would like to see, a business plan. If that's, and our attorney Cummings, if that is even possible, to see a business plan, to be able to see, what kind of a credit report, does this potential buyer have? What about, as far as funding source as well, because ask any business owner, there's a few times a month that there's no money coming in. Are they going to be viable at that point, especially with investing that kind of money into the space? So yes, I echo what you're saying as well. I would like to see some sort of review where we, the trustees, get to have that opportunity to review the information. So that's what I have. Thank you.
With all that being said, may I have a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda, please?
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved by trustee Colton, seconded by trustee Roman. Roll call, please.
Trustee Willis.
Aye.
Trustee Colton.
Aye.
Trustee Hyperman.
Aye.
Trustee Harris Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Roman.
Aye.
Trustee Obit.
Hi.
The consent agenda is approved. General board discussion. Trustee Willis.
Well, I just wanted to say that we've heard so much about why, Homewood is such a great place, from the Civics Academy, the Science Center, TOD plans. Just wonderful to see all the things that are going on at Homewood, and I'm grateful for it.
Trustee Colton.
One thing I want to mention, first of all, yes, agreed, like we're doing great things in Homewood. And there's a lot going on. One concern I have that I just kind of want to bring to staff and see what we can do about this. There's a huge disconnect between, like when we talk about parking, between what the residents believe is the case and what we believe is the case. If you talk to any resident anywhere, or like the residents or the business owners or visitors, they're all like, oh my God, there's no parking, there's no parking, there's no parking. And then we hold up the thing and say there's a parking study done and it's only 32% capacity. And I think both things can be true. I think that is, I'm not gonna tell people that their lived experience is like, no, you're wrong, there's lots of parking and you're dumb. But I do think that we need to figure out a better way. Well, first of all, we need to figure out where that disconnect is coming from. And is it communication? Is it signage? I know, Angela, we've talked about that a little bit. I know you guys have some great plans and I'm excited about that. I think that, we could look into like technology. Is there a Homewood app that could be developed? Like I would love to see that could tie into Google Maps and people say where they're going and then it gives them directions to the nearest parking. Stuff like that. I think there's a lot of options that we can do, but we need to communicate that with the community, because I swear to God, if one more person stops me at the grocery store and talks to me about parking, and I don't want to just keep waving a piece of paper at them saying 32%, you're fine. I'd like there to be a better plan and I'd like it to be better articulated. So if we could work on that, that would be fantastic.
Trustee Hyperman.
May 6th is the first Monday of the month. Starbucks is not open, and as everybody's waiting, where am I gonna have my first Monday Starbucks meeting? I'm moving it next month, May 6th, to Bergstein's, which, so you join me, and all topics are open.
Are they going to be open that late?
5 o'clock, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trustee Harris Jones.
Everyone get ready for the cicadas. They're on
Trustee,
their way.
Trustee Roman.
That's the perk of us all loving our historic town with our trees, right? We get all the cicadas. I will echo all the statements that this was such great stuff. The Civic Academy, I was so excited to see that, and to see so many people do it. And the TOD plan, that's exciting. And I just have a question for Napoleon, if you could update us on anything that has been transpired since the last meeting about safety at the schools, traffic, anything like that?
Absolutely. So last week, we called a massive team together, staff team of our department heads, assistant directors, to come into this room, actually the boardroom, to talk about three things: speeding, safety, parking in the downtown, and security and safety around the school. So we brought a team together. Chris Cummings was also present to kind of brainstorm, to try to figure out, we have enough brilliance on staff to try to figure out, at least to provide some recommendations to the board on moving forward. So we met for about an hour, open, honest conversation, and we believe we have some sketched recommendations. We need to refine those, and we'll have those back to the board probably at the May 14th meeting. We need to refine those and talk to them, do some research and create some teams that kind of, everybody's dealing with the same issues. Everybody's dealing with parking downtown. On our professional website, everybody's talking about parking downtown, whether it's Naperville, Aurora, Joliet, everybody's talking about parking downtown. So I think we'll have some recommendations to be able to bring back on May 14th, at least to start us out.
Excellent. We all have the same issues, but I know you guys are the best.
Absolutely.
You're gonna come up with the best
Absolutely.
solution for Homewood.
Trustee
Thank you all very much.
Trustee Opich.
All right, just a few things. Since we do have John and Josh here, what's the latest for cicadas? I know they're inching their way up.
Well, I can give you the report. My dogs are starting to eat them. They're digging them up.
I
They're
was
digging
told
them
they're
up.
about 4 inches now. Oh
4
my
inches.
gosh. Okay, so, shout out to our police chief. First of all, congratulations with the marathon. And, just to bootstrap onto safety, I have noticed, so many how do I say this? Less speeding on 183rd and Ridge Road. The presence of the police has been fantastic, so thank you and your team. And thank you to staff and to Napoleon for the budget, all the work that was put into the budget, and Amy bringing everything together. So thank you. I know that, and to even have a 5-year plan, that's pretty spectacular. So a couple things. This past Saturday, I was with Antonia and Marla selling t-shirts, the Cicada Eris t-shirts. There are only a few left, and we do have totes left as well, but they're going fast. Shout out to that team because I couldn't get over the fact that it was 8:30 and we had a line outside. 8:30 in the morning and people were getting their t-shirts. So there are a few left to follow up with Napoleon. They can go to you, right? Thank you to Edie and everything that you've done with the Science Center. Absolutely fantastic. Couple things coming up on Saturday. There's still time to sign up for cleanup day. And I believe that every day should cleanup day, but luckily we have scheduled that. And I know there's a great crew that's coming over it. I'll be there at 8:30. And then also the library, Homewood Library, is celebrating their 100th anniversary Saturday night. Tickets are still available, so come out and enjoy that fun as well. That's all I have.
Thank you. Could you give us the details on cleanup day, please?
Absolutely. Everyone interested, we'll be meeting at the Public Works Department Building, 17755 Ashland Avenue at 8:30 on this Saturday. We're gonna clean up rain or shine, so if it's raining, wear your rain gear. We have all the tools that you'll need. We have the bags, we have the gloves, we have the sticks that picks up garbage. Meet us at the Homewood, the HSC Homewood. Public Works Service Building. Yeah, full service building. 8:30 on Saturday. Meet us there.
And wait a minute.
Here?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, there's a perk afterwards.
Oh, yeah, we're serving hot dogs, right?
There
We're having
we
a hot dog lunch. So show up at 8:30 to get your hot dog. We'll make sure.
They
we'll
are
be
good
counting.
hot dogs, too. Okay, with all that being said, may I have a motion to enter into executive session to discuss pending litigation?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by trustee Roman, seconded by trustee Opel. Roll call, please.
Trustee Willis.
Aye.
Trustee Colton.
Aye.
Trustee Hyperman.
Aye.
Trustee Harris Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Roman.
Aye.
Trustee Opel.
Hi.
Let's take a short recess. Thank you all for being here this evening.